Zombie Apocalypse.
How's it going, everybody? This is Todd Pedrabo. Hope you're having another great day, and welcome back to another video. Alright, so I wasn't planning on doing this video until like sometime around very later in the year. However, I feel like now is the time for me to vent again about something, and this one is about one of my previous jobs. As you've mentioned before, I did recently do a video about CVS and the reasons why I quit. Well, that was one of 3 jobs that I was doing at the time earlier in the year while I was trying to find my media job. At the time, I just felt very disheartened by what was happening at CVS. So, as I had mentioned before, I recently decided to replace this one with a job at Walmart in Union, New Jersey. Now, this was my first true full-time experience. This was something that gave me full-time pay and gave me full-time hours, unlike all my other 3 jobs at the time. However, this one was overnight, and I can tell you right now, this was probably an even worse experience than it was at CVS. Hence why I had not discussed or even referenced Walmart since I did my life update video back in April. So for this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience at Walmart and all the reasons why it went the way it was and why I decided that I needed to get out there after only 2 months. So how I ended up getting there was obviously, as I mentioned before, a little bit difficult. I had been trying to apply for full-time employment because, like I said before, I had 3 part-time jobs and I was starting to get a little tired of having my hours cut because of, different related issues that weren't related to my performance. And so obviously I decided that I was going to apply to other places to try to find a full-time job while I was still trying to find a media job, just so that way I could make a little extra cash. And so I decided, one of the places that I was going to apply to was Walmart. And so obviously I applied there for multiple positions, and the very next week after I had applied to them, they contacted me, asked me to come in, and I thought at the moment that it was actually an interview. So I thought we were going to go in and do an interview, and if I was able to do well, I'd get the job. So I go in there, and obviously the person that was interviewing me, the HR coordinator there, she just asked me a couple questions, and then she just gave me the job description, and she told me next week on Wednesday, be here for orientation. And that was really the first puzzle in my mind in which everything just started to seem off. She told me literally right away that I just got the job on the spot without doing any sort of formal interview or introduction like that. And she told me just right away, next Wednesday, come in for orientation, we're getting you started. And I just felt confused because I really had no idea what was going on. She didn't do an actual interview or something like that, and it just felt really weird. And trust me, I have heard quite a bit of horror stories obviously about Walmart before I got a job. I heard that there were a lot of people that had suffered during their time there. They had a lot of difficulties with some of the other employees, some of the benefits and all of that other stuff. But again, I didn't know that at the time. I thought that I would be just fine, something like that. But the first real major problem after that was when I found out that the job was overnight. And trust me, as I've mentioned before, I hate working overnight. And unfortunately, this was around 8 hours at night, 10 to 7, in which I had to work continuously. And that was really bad, obviously. And the fact that I had to do that with 2 other jobs at Lowe's and ShopRite at the time, that just made it a whole lot worse because I was going to have very little sleep whatsoever. That was the first problem. The second problem that I had then obviously was that they didn't give me a whole lot of time to prepare whatsoever. They just had me sit on a computer, do some stuff, and they did some simple training and all of that, but I just thought that it was mainly just stocking and all of that, but turns out they didn't give me the entire description of what was happening at the time. Unfortunately, this job here doing overnight, it required a lot more things, and unfortunately it wasn't just stocking. I also had to do returns, and I also had to do zoning, which was making sure all the aisles were safe. Problem was, I'm not that speedy of a guy. I'm a quick learner. I know how to do things very quickly, but unfortunately these were things that I had never done before, and things that they didn't train me properly on during training or even give me even pointers on at all. And because of that, I just struggled. And unfortunately, I never got a whole lot of help there during my time at Walmart. It seems like they were giving me some stuff that I can do, where they gave me some pointers on what to do, but when it came time for me to actually try to do it, they just weren't there to help me out with that. And unfortunately, when it's time for me to do it all alone, it just became much harder for me to do it. Lowe's, when I was there, I got to do it at a steady pace, obviously. I had to do receiving it the first part, but the second part, when I was able to do my stocking, I didn't really have to worry about time. I just did as much as I could before I left there at 1 a.m. Here, they have a time limit, unfortunately. They tell me that, you have to get everything done by a certain amount of time, and if you didn't, you get reprimanded or you have to move on, and then whatever is not done, everybody else had to do it, because I had to get through zoning and all of that. I mean, I didn't like that. That's something that I don't like. I prefer, just to go at your own pace style, and unfortunately Walmart was not like that, and it was just really miserable. And like I said, some of the employees that worked there during those 2 months overnight, they were okay. They definitely did their best to try to make me feel welcome there, help me out whenever they could. But my problem was with management. Unfortunately, management there was just probably pretty horrible, unfortunately. They gave me very little help, unfortunately, and they just didn't do a whole lot to make me feel like that I was doing a really good job. I mean, they were telling me that I was doing a good job, but the way I was performing, and the way that I was trying to get everything done in a certain amount of time and all of that, it made me feel like that I was doing the exact opposite of what they were telling me. And they just never gave me real good descriptions of what I was supposed to be doing, and unfortunately that just made it a lot harder in return. And usually when I was at my other jobs, when I was stocking, I would have zebras with me, so that way I would be able to figure out where they were going. I mean, usually they would just give me the exact aisle that they were supposed to go at, and I can just go there. It's right there. I can just put it right there. Not at Walmart, unfortunately. They had little to no zebras that I could use whatsoever. I had to use the Walmart app on my phone just to be able to find it, and even when I did, I still couldn't figure out exactly where it was supposed to go, because they didn't have the proper description of the prices and what part of the aisle it was supposed to be on. And that's just something that made it much harder. Hey, you don't have any zebras that I can use? How am I going to be able to do this? That's a real major problem. And unfortunately, the fact that it was overnight, like I said, and then as soon as that was done, the very next morning, I would only have an hour of sleep, so that way I can go to ShopRite. And then there were just times where I had to do all 3 jobs at once. And unfortunately, Walmart was the one that ended up being the worst of them all, because it's 8 straight hours where I had to work, including an hour lunch break where I had to do a whole lot of different work, everything that I did at CVS along with Lowe's and ShopRite. And unfortunately, it just was miserable. I just hated it overall, and unfortunately that was just not the kind of work style that I enjoyed. And yeah, obviously that was just one problem. And the other thing was that from what I heard, they were known for cutting full-time people's hours, unfortunately, and that was exactly what they were about to do to me. They had actually taken away an hour of work, which meant I would have only had 7 hours of an actual shift, starting at least a week before I quit, obviously, which obviously never happened. But I heard that was quite a bit of what they do. And also, they would elevate some people from part-time to full-time hours, unfortunately, for no apparent reason. Their schedule was the way to do it. They just messed up, unfortunately. And finally, obviously, like I said, it was just the atmosphere. Unfortunately, it was just absolutely miserable. The fact that you're even there working 8 hours overnight, unfortunately, with very little help, unfortunately, with a lack of a zebra to be able to figure out what you're supposed to be doing, and a very lack of proper instruction, unfortunately. I can tell you, CVS was bad, but Walmart, unfortunately, was a whole lot worse, because there was actual mismanagement that was happening there at the store at Walmart. And I don't know what it's like there during the days, unfortunately, but overnight, I can tell you, it was pretty miserable, unfortunately. I mean, I just could not adapt to everything that was going on, because I felt like that I was not getting enough instruction and enough help for me to be able to actually figure out exactly what I was supposed to be doing. And unfortunately, I mean, look, no offense to everybody else that I worked with that was around my level. I mean, they're good guys, unfortunately, but management, I just felt like that they were not doing a good job of helping me with being able to figure out what I was supposed to do. Unfortunately, because of that, I suffered from that. So obviously, I just felt like that this was a very bad place for me to work at, unfortunately. I'll combine that and the fact that they just rushed me right into this without giving me any proper training, unfortunately. I felt like that I just could not stay at Walmart, unfortunately. And I felt like that I had made a big mistake of taking Walmart without learning about all the things that everybody else had been saying about the company and the way that it has trained its employees altogether. I just didn't believe that it would happen to me at first, but unfortunately, that was exactly what happened. And unfortunately, after only 2 months, around early May, unfortunately, I decided that, this is not the right place for me. I feel like 3 jobs at once and one where I had to do it completely overnight, this was just a bad idea. I just could not do it. And so unfortunately, I had to drop Walmart. I just felt like that I just couldn't do it anymore. And so yeah, the reason why I had not discussed Walmart in any of my previous videos was because of those reasons. I just felt like that, it was just miserable right there. I mean, listen, CVS is bad, but the thing is, Walmart was really, really worse than that. And it's probably equal to Stop and Shop as my worst overall job experience, because like I said, at Stop and Shop, I was having to work outside with the cars, and we're doing it in like a lot of really bad weather, unfortunately. That was really miserable. Working overnight where you're getting very little help, you're getting a very bad lack of sleep, unfortunately, because like I said, I had 2 other part-time jobs, and unfortunately, that took away a whole lot of sleep during my days as well. The fact that you had to combine with that, and that you had very little instruction and only an hour to be able to rest, unfortunately, it was just absolutely miserable. And yeah, I mean, for just 2 months trying to figure out some way to go full-time at some place so I can avoid having my hours cut, and that way I can be able to try to figure out exactly where I can finally find my media job, unfortunately. Yeah, Walmart was not a smart decision. I mean, let's face it, Walmart's not going to be like Costco. I've heard a lot of good things about Costco, and Walmart's trying to do their best to get to them, but unfortunately, with what I saw from my experience, I can tell exactly why Walmart is never going to be like Costco. And trust me, they've had a lot of departments. They're trying to expand right to everything, but even after all of that with the prices, the way they mismanaged their employees, including me, unfortunately, it was miserable. And so yeah, obviously that was a very bad experience. Obviously I really did not like it there at Walmart, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I wished I had kept CVS. As miserable as CVS was, I really wish I would have kept that one now instead of just going for the Walmart job, because that would have saved me a whole lot more time, and even though it would have meant less money, unfortunately, it would have at least be able to give me a lot more sleep instead of what I had to went through during those times from mid-March to early May, unfortunately. I mean, I'm very happy that I finally have that media job, and that was able to allow me to put all that behind me and just focus on that. So like I said, I'm enjoying my life right now. I'm happy with my new job in the media industry at New Jersey Symphony. Well, again, like I said, it's a marketing job mostly, but it also has some form of media in it. But if I am to ever go back into retail full-time, if for some reason a marketing or media career doesn't work out, or if I can't find a way to be able to find a career alternative if it doesn't work out, Walmart's definitely a place that I'm not going to be going back to, unless it's a place where it's during the day where I'm able to actually get like good hours and be able to get some sleep later on in the day. Walmart's definitely not going to be a place where I'm going to be working at ever. And so my advice to everybody is, unless it's an area in that place where you can actually make something happen and be able to do something well in there, unless you really have no other choice, I'm sorry, you cannot work at Walmart. I do not think it would be a good idea for you to go there and work at Walmart overall. It's just, they will mismatch you, they will cut your hours for no reason whatsoever, they will not give you a whole lot of instruction, and you're pretty much going to be left on your own, unfortunately. And trust me, that is something that I don't think you will want to go into. It was a very bad experience. I really hated it at Walmart, and I'm just glad I was able to get out of there while I could, because that was probably one of the worst job experiences next to Stop and Shop that I have ever had. But you know what? That's in the past. I'm no longer worried about that anymore, and I'm just happy with the life that I have right now. Alright, fun time's over. That's going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. I know how popular the CVS video was. In fact, it just recently became my most popular video here on YouTube. It just became my most viewed video. So like I said, to everybody that has watched my CVS video, thank you so much. This is actually pretty much a sequel to that one. I'm talking about my Walmart job, just explain to you everything that's almost similar to this one compared to what it was at CVS. So I just felt like I would do that to celebrate my CVS video becoming my most viewed video on my YouTube channel. So if you like this one, and if you want to hear about some of my other job experiences, feel free to let me know down in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to share them with you. Otherwise, that's going to do it for this video. As always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. As always, comment below for future suggestions for all my videos, whether it's blogs, projects, or challenges, you name it. Be sure to leave it in the comments below, and I'll do my best to make them. As always, follow me on my social media. All the links are in the description below. That's going to do it for this video. Hope you're having another great day. And as always, I hope to see all of you again in another video very soon. So long, everybody.